Hey guys, welcome back to my stream. Welcome to my channel, and welcome to another video series. A series where we are working on this guy right here. That is the M4A3E8. I think that's all the letters correct. This is the Easy 8. It's a Sherman tank, 1/35th scale by Tamiya. Let's get right into it, eh? Alright, well guys, starting a new series, working on another tank. This guy right there. This has inspired me from the movie Fury. A friend of mine, good friend of mine, recommended I watched that movie Fury. He said, you're going to want to build the tank from it. And guess what I'm doing? So I am going to show you guys a clip from that movie. If you have not seen it, I do recommend it. If you're into war movies and stuff like that, it's a little graphic, a little bit of language in it, but I'll give you that warning there. I'll show you guys a couple of little clips from that I've kind of cropped from the movie. I did have to change the audio on it due to copyright stuff, but have a look at that video right here. So there you go, guys. That is the Fury, and yeah, so that's what I'm going to be building. Obviously, this color is not what that tank's going to be. You watch that movie, that's one thing I was looking at. You know, I watched that movie and I'm thinking, is this tank painted like German gray, even though it's an American tank? Like, what's the deal with that, right? So I went online and said, what color are Sherman tanks supposed to be? And well, everybody seems to concede that Sherman tanks were a dark green, olive drab basically, and due to the look of the film, the movie, the tank does look black. But I did find some pictures online that you get somebody saw the actual tank that they used in the movie. They saw it like while they were at a gas station or something like that, and it was on the back of a flat deck trailer. And they took a picture of it anyway, and you can tell the tank actually isn't black. It's almost like green and black camouflage. There are some spots on it that are definitely black, and there's a few spots on it that are definitely green. So I'm going to try and recreate that. I've obviously got some German gray in my paint lineups, and I've got dark green. I've also got this one that I kind of mixed myself to make a dark green from light green. if I can get this open. That's definitely a dark green in there. So I might use this one, or I might use this one. I might use a combination of them to get the dark green that I want, and then I'll use a German gray as the black, right? I might even darken this gray up because it is kind of gray-ish, right? I don't want to use straight black because it's too much, right? But yeah, so that's kind of the plan as far as the color goes. Obviously I'm not going to be putting these stars on there because, well, the tank in the movie didn't have no stars on it. I did find online a little decal kit that has the Fury to put on the barrel of the tank, just like in the movie, so I get to do that. Yeah, so I've never built a Sherman tank before, so I haven't really gone through it. And yes, you can tell I've opened up the box and I've opened up the bags, but I will say, for a Tamiya kit, you know, I've built a couple of Tamiya tanks before, and the Tamiya, you know, their fit is always perfect and everything like that, but their tanks really don't have a whole lot of parts to them, and so they're fairly easy to build. They're not too complicated. This tank, this kit, is showing me something a little different. Now, one thing they have done is they've added the turret has nice rough detail on it to give that look of that rough steel texture, and that's kind of cool. And you can definitely see it on the front of this. What do they call this part? The mantlet, I think they call, where the barrel sticks out. That's definitely really rough on that for sure. We got some jerry cans, and yeah, that looks like part of the barrel there. Let me change the camera so you guys can see the sprues a little bit better. Okay, so yeah, obviously the underside of the turret. I don't know if the cameras can really pick up and show you guys the rough detail on there. You know, normally I could take some thinned down Tamiya putty and kind of put it on there and give it a texture, but I don't think I'm going to have to. I think Tamiya has basically said, hey, we're going to do that for you and make this nice and rough and not super smooth, so you don't have to do that detail yourself. We'll do it for you. Anyway, next we have two identical sprues here of wheels and suspension parts and all the fun wheels that we got to deal with. A bunch of pieces here, don't know what they are. It's like all suspension parts on both of these. So that's that. We have our main hull. This is smooth. This section up here is not. This is rough here. One thing that's kind of unfortunate, they have the stamp here. I don't know if that's supposed to be there or not. It could be. It could be supposed to be there. It almost looks like, you know, this stamp here for the sprue, but maybe it's supposed to be there. I do not know. That's very possible. Next sprue, we got a little machine gun for the top. Side plates, bottom plate. I'm guessing that's the bottom. Normally we have a big bucket. A lot of Tamiya kits that have the main hull as a bucket, and then you just add stuff on. But it looks like this one we're going to have to build up. And final sprue here. Oh, sorry, we've got some clear parts, obviously, for periscopes and stuff like that. Put those over there. And yeah, our sides for this looks like tanks with our skirts going up the front. Engines, we got 4 poly caps, I guess, for the wheels. And yeah, and that's it. So not a huge amount of parts, and of course we've got our big tracks. Tamiya typical rubber tracks. I know rubber tracks get a lot of flack. Some guys really hate rubber tracks and they don't like them. I don't mind them so much. They're easy to put together. You can paint them however you like. they still take paint really well and all that fun stuff. They hold together. They're just round. They don't sag like you want them to. But there's ways around that. You can make them sag if you want them, if you really want to have sag in there. So we can deal with that when the time comes. More smaller poly caps in a bag. We've got our decal sheet with the stars, which I won't be using. And we have this. This is not actually from the Tamiya kit. This is from Edward. I bought this separately. Just a little detail up sheet, photo etch, just to add a little bit of detail to it. Maybe it replaces some parts. Of course, Edward, we've got instructions on what parts it will replace, and so we can deal with that when we get there. So let's go through our instruction book and see what is first. I'm going to guess the first thing we're supposed to do is assemble all the wheels, because that seems to be par for the course on tank builds. So I'm going to leave these two sprues out just in anticipation that, in fact, yes, we're going to do wheels first. So, and I'm wrong. Right off the bat, I'm wrong. We're not doing wheels first. Get this folded here. Wheels are not first. How about that? First thing they want us to do is assemble our sides. So, let's look at that. I'm going to need my knife. I'm going to need my nippers. Let's see, off of our P tree, P1 and P5. So, that seems to be our main sprue, although we have R here too. So I need to do this as we go along because I find this easier to do. To identify my sprues, I like to highlight the letters so that I can see from a distance where they are. And then what I do on the other side where that letter is, I'll put the letter also. Sometimes it's a little harder to do, but on the other side, but that's all right. Okay. And I don't want to get these mixed up, so I want this separate, like that. This is our R sprue, right? And here's our L's. So, or our P. I want P, not L. It looks like, It'd help if I grab the actual proper sprue. Okay, that helps a lot. When they're calling for your P, grab your P. Okay. I do want L actually because there's a couple of parts on here. L18. But I want P4, 3, 4, 5, and 1. 3, 4, 5, and 1. Number 1 is this big guy. One, and we need P4. 4 goes with 1. Okay. And there's 5, and we want 3. Okay, 3 goes with 5. Now, we do need our L tree that I put back in here. And off of L we need 18. There's two 18s, so they're both the same, so that makes things easy. Okay. So let's get these cleaned up. Typically the Tamiya stuff, you don't have to worry about flashing. They usually fit really good straight off the sprue. As long as your nubs are clean, it'll fit. It's typically, that's been my experience with Tamiyas. Is Tamiya perfect? No. Sometimes you get some stuff that doesn't quite go together perfect. That's That happens. And I think that happens with every model manufacturer. I don't care how much you spend on a model kit, there's going to be some points where it's not perfect. And that is just the way it is. But you know, that's why sometimes you have people who call themselves model builders and people who call themselves model makers. The makers are the guys who can sculpt their own things, make things from scratch. Those guys have the real talent, in my opinion. Guys who can take just a regular piece of plastic and cut and scrape and mold and turn it into something. I do not have that talent. I would classify myself as a model assembler or just a model builder. Okay, so we take this one and we're going to take one of these and he's going to go right there, just like that. So let's get some glue. These kinds of things I'm not too concerned about. You know, tank builds are kind of fun in the fact that you don't need to be super clean with them. And what do I mean by that? I mean, you don't have to worry about a little bit of glue oozing out in a spot that you don't really want, because chances are you're going to be covering it up with weathering effects. Okay, so that's one side. And then we have this thing. This thing is supposed to go on in this. In the back here, we want this shape, and they want that hole lining up here, like this. So it lines up like that. Kind of makes you wonder, why didn't they just mold this piece like that? Right? Not sure there was any benefit in doing what they did. Now you notice I put lots of glue there. That's going to squirt out from the sides, I think. Nah, not really. Maybe a tiny little bit, but that's alright. The main thing is that's on there, it's tight. It ain't going anywhere. There we go. That's one side. We'll do the same on this side here. Let's get this guy on there. Line up that hole. Line up our other one. Where are you here? Oops. There we go. Nice and tight. Okay. Even though I don't have to, I'll test fit this. Yep, fits good. Lots of glue on there. Oops, got a little bit on the outside. There we go, clean it off. Again, doesn't matter, there's going to be a whole bunch of mud on the underneath of this. There's all the suspension, there's going to be lots of mud under there. Because that's what happens on tanks. Especially, you guys saw in that one little scene where he's driving through the mud, there's a lot of mud. This tank is going to be dirty. She's going to be a dirty girl. Okay, that's those. Let's flip the page over. Nothing else to put on this one. Looks like we're going to assemble the rest of the bottom of the hull. P2 and P6, respectively. We have our P. Where'd our P go? Right here. The rest of our P tree. There's one piece. And two pieces. And that's it for this sprue. That's done. clean this up so everything fits nice. You don't clean these off, you're going to find things don't fit properly. And usually, if you got a Tamiya kit and stuff doesn't fit properly, it's usually your fault. I'm just going to come right out and say it. It's probably your fault. You probably did something wrong if your Tamiya kit doesn't fit together like it's supposed to. I gotta say, probably a good 90% of the time, if my stuff doesn't fit right, it's because I did something wrong along the way and didn't do it right. Okay, that's that. Do this one. This one needs to be cleaned up only so that it fits. We don't care how it looks. This is on the inside of the tank. This is just going to act as a supporting piece. Right, so let's get this in the right direction. Got a couple of little nut things there. I don't know what that's all about. Maybe it comes to play later. We have this guy. We want the big hole facing down, and it's going to go in this little channel here. Looks like right here, straight up and down. Kind of locks in a couple of little grooves there. So it's going to lock in right there. Okay. Put a little bit of glue just to help it sit in its spot while I get the walls lined up. We'll probably put some thin on there afterwards. Okay, so we're going to do our right side, which is this one. It's going to go on there. And so we've got our little channel going along here. And that's where we're going to line up here. So let's see. Let's get that kind of straight up and down. It's going to get lined up in there. So it looks like we just kind of sit it in like this. Just like that. And that's it. Pretty easy, right? So you have choices. You can either put some of the thick glue there, or you can put some thin on there. I'm going to do a combination, thin and thicker glue. I know I got to run it along here, and I got to go in there. Again, it doesn't really matter because this is all on the inside, so you don't have to be super clean with it. I'm not going to be super clean with it. The only thing I care about is that everything lines up. That's all I care about. The thicker glue does kind of set up a little bit easier. Gives you a little bit of play for a few seconds, but it holds well, and that's what I like about it. The thin stuff doesn't hold quite as strong. Mind you, I use the quick setting thin myself. This is the one I use, as opposed to the regular thin. So that could be why I find the thin is a little weaker glue. But that fit perfect. No complaints there. I'm not going to dry fit this one. I'm not going to dry fit this side, and we'll see how it goes. I'm going to live life a little dangerously here today. Maybe it's that beer I'm drinking. I'm feeling a little rebellious. There we go. And in typical Tamiya fashion, perfect fit. Perfect fit. So far, no complaints, guys. Looks good. Now, I didn't put any glue on the forward part on this one, so I'm going to use my thin just to get in up front here on this one. Right there like that. Let's get some thin in there. And just in case I missed it, I want to get in there too. And we'll get in on the sides here just to help out with our vertical bulkhead there, just to help that out. Okay, looks like we're going to be putting this aside to let that glue dry for a little bit while we work on our differential cover. That's another thing I like about Tamiya kits, is they kind of tell you what you're building. Right? There's many kits out there where you build them and you don't really know exactly what part that is that you're assembling. You're just assembling it because it goes on there. But Tamiya is nice enough to actually tell you in a lot of places. You know, this is the differential cover. This is the rear panel. This is the lower hull part 2. Right? Little things like that. They just tell you that stuff. Anyway, off of our L tree, we want L6. Okay, and then we're going to do L25 and 26. Looks like everything off of our L tree for this part. So, L number 6, our big guy here. Okay, and we want 25 and 26. Let's find those. Here and here. So 25, put them down by this picture. 26 by his picture. Then we've got 9, 10, and 17. 17 here and here. 2 of them. Find 9 and 10 down here. Little tiny guys. 9 can go there. And 10. Okay. So clean up our nub. Okay, let's clean these. These are some details that, you know, you can spend a lot of time on these things, cleaning them up and getting them look realistic and real. I don't spend too much time on these kinds of things because after you've painted it all and you've got it sitting on your shelf, how much do you really notice, right? Somebody walks in, a friend of yours comes over to your house and they're looking at your model displays. Do they notice how realistic your little hooks are on the front of your tank? Do they point out how unrealistically large they are in the scale? If they do, well, kick them out. They're not your friends. But realistically, they're probably not even going to tell. They're not even going to notice. Okay, so looking at this piece, we've got to have it in this position. And L25 and 26, they go to the outside ones, here and here. So, using my tweezers, Let's see if I can get these lined up. Looks like it's going to go like this. Okay. Now one thing I don't want is a nub sticking up on this side here. And I see a nub sticking up there. So this is where I do care about my nubs being clean. Because this is supposed to be smooth right across there. Like that. A little bit of glue on the bottom of it. And right in there. There we go. This guy's next. Get it in the right position to hold it and clean that up. A little bit of glue on the bottom of that one. And on he goes. So now just make sure they are straight like they're supposed to be. Looks good. It's like that. I know it's hard to see on the camera. Okay, next we have L9 and 10, and they are kind of unique, and they are supposed to go like this onto these guys. A couple of little loops. So put a little bit of glue right there just to hold him in his place. While I try and get him lined up. That put him in his place where he's supposed to be. Okay, so I'll do the same with this one. And you notice I only glued the one side, and that's fine. It's just to get them to kind of hold their I think that's where it's supposed to go. Not quite. There we go. Okay, so now that they're in their spots, I can use a thin and get in there on this side. In there, glue them on proper. Okay, and with those in, next are these guys going in, and they're going to go right there. These ones are the same on both sides, so I'll glue on the bottom of them. Put them in a slot. Make sure it's straight. Looks good. Okay. Next. sure it's straight. There we go. So our little hook pieces, toe hooks, mantles, things like that, they're done. Okay, that's that part. That's the differential cover. Next we're going to do the rear panel. Okay, the rear panel is L38. Find my L tree. Here's my L tree. We want 38, this guy here. Okay. Before I start gluing stuff on it, I'm going to start cleaning it up. Okay. There we go. L38. We want it in this position. We're going to do L21 and 22. They want to paint these parts, but we're not doing any painting yet. 21 and 22. Looks like exhausts. So they're probably telling you this is 22. It's going to go there. I don't know what XF64 is. It's probably a gunmetal or something like that, or it could be rusted metal or rust. I don't know what 64 is. But I'll tell you right now, the fact that it's at the back of the tank, it's not going to matter too much what the original paint color is. Okay, so 22 right here. They have it kind of slotted in such a way that it's only going to go in one direction, and it's going to go like that. So we'll go a little on there, and plop just like that. Actually got some flashing on there I need to clean. Look at that. Tamiya gave me some flashing. There we go. Let's make sure it's straight like it's supposed to. There we go. Next, right there. And make sure it's straight. There we go. Okay. So that's done. So I'm going to take some other pieces. We want L4 and 32. Okay, L4 and 32. Four is this big piece here. And we want 32. This guy here. And we want a pulley cap, one of the large pulley caps. So let's go back into our box here. The larger ones are the ones that are not in the bag. So let's get one of these. Bing. Okay, I'm going to apologize to you guys for now, because I need to turn on my air conditioner. It is 27 degrees Celsius in my room right now, and I am sweating, and so I need to turn it on. That means it's going to get kind of loud, and you guys aren't going to hear me that well. So this is going to go on, and it's going to go on just like that. I'm going to use my thin to glue that on. That, and I'm going to turn on my air conditioner. So sorry about this, it's going to get loud. You're going to hear it in the background. Okay, We want L23 to go in the middle. There we go, and we want two L27s. These two little guys here. Again, these are like little toe hooks slash anchors, whatever you want to call them. This is a little delicate to get clean. I don't want to break it. There we go. It looks like this is going to go in this direction here, just like that. So I'll use some thin just to get that on there. Push that into its slots. This should basically wind up so that this face is angled pretty much like this. Should be pretty close, I imagine. Although it's not quite. It's down just a little bit. You can even see here on these little angles here that it actually goes down just a little bit, like in this direction. It's not quite 90 degrees. Okay. Then we have these two little guys here. And they're going to go in the outside slots. Similar fashion. This. Their orientation is important. You want to have the long edge towards, if this is the top, you want the long edge towards the top. Sure they're straight and not crooked. There we go. Next, okay, we got this put together. We can put this piece on now. So we want this facing this direction, and it's going to go in this little spot right here. So we've got a little notch right here. It's going to go in that peg. Line up right in there, like that. Just like that. And we'll discover that this thing is not perfectly 90 degrees either. So, interesting how this all lines up. That pushed on there. Okay. Moving on to this part, we have L40 24, and they show us here how it's supposed to be lined up and how each piece is supposed to be lined up there. Okay. And then we got L16 on each side is going to go in these. I'm going to do these two first. Okay. Just so that they're on there. I don't have to worry about it. L16 times 2, 24 and 40. 16 are these two hooks here. 16 by 24. And then 40 is our flat piece. Okay. Basically with these, I want to make sure which side is going to be facing up. What side are you going to actually see when you look at this thing? To me, that's the most important part. What part do you see? What do you actually see on this thing? Because I really don't care about parts that you're never going to see. I also don't care how clean it is if I'm going to be totally painting the part and you're not going to see any of the imperfections or nub marks or anything like that. Don't care about that either if you're going to be painting over it all anyway. Okay, there's that. This guy there, there. Alright. So, let's get these on. These guys are going to go this direction with their little hooks facing down. Getting the right angle so that I can get in there with the and actually mount them like that. One. And 2. Okay, so those are on. Now, this guy. This guy gets mounted through that hole. With that peg. So, all we do is slide it through there. Simple as that. And just make sure it's lined up straight. That was easy. And now we have this piece. This guy is going to go in. If you look carefully at the angle here, this is not perfectly 90 degrees. 90 degrees is there, but it's not. It sits a little bit back. And it reflects that in the picture here, that it doesn't sit perfectly 90 degrees there. So, let's put that in there. And you can see that it sits a little bit below the exhaust and it's not quite 90 degrees. And so I'm just kind of letting gravity do its thing and hold it just below the exhaust like it's supposed to be. Have my thin set. Go. Okay, with all the bits done on that, I'm going to put that aside. We've got to grab L42. 42, this guy here. Here we go. Clean this up. It's he's going to be installed next. Whoops. I grabbed my other glasses. I didn't see where that fell. Let me rephrase. I didn't see where that. There we go. Point. Okay. Alright, okay, so we're going to grab our old hull that we started with, and we're going to put this piece on this direction, and it's going to line up here. Oh, that feels good when it fits so perfectly like that. Thank you, Tamiya. I love it when parts fit perfectly together. Alright, we've got our front differential cover. And then this piece goes on top of it here. Just like so. Back here to make sure it stays. There we go. Okay, so that's on there. And then we're going to install our rear one, and it's going to go back in here, all the way back to here. And they want it facing this direction, so this is actually the bottom. Show you in the diagram here that how it's supposed to line up. So kind of line it up with these wheel or axles. This should fit through here. So. Once again, flawless. These things about these Tamiya kits is it just fits together. I mean, you can complain about Tamiya's kits not being super detailed, but you can't complain about the way they fit because they just fit perfectly. basically just assembling it. You're just, yeah. So, yeah. Let's see what's on the next page. I have a feeling I'm going to be done. This is going to be it for now. Let me see. Maybe not. I don't know. Not quite sure. In any case, let's flip the page and have a look. We got a few bits we can put together here. I'll get down, I'll do this part. Okay, we'll finish off this. We'll start assembling the deflector, and we'll put the deflector in, and that's where we're going to end for today. Okay, we'll get this done, and then that's where I'll end it for today, and we'll continue the rest later. So let's just set this aside for a second while we grab a few more parts off the L tree. Okay. So we want L20 and L14 times 2. Here's our L14s. There's 21, there's 20, 18, 20, these two. These two guys. Seems to be my internet connection is not doing too good. I keep getting an error message on my screen saying frames have been dropped, which I think it's related to my stream. I don't think it's related to my actual recording, but we'll see. I guess I'll find out. Hopefully everything's recorded. So we're going on the back of this thing, going into our little axle. So let's do L14 first. Get that in on the inside here. Okay, L14. Here, just like that, just like so. Okay. With L14 in place, we can take L20, and they show you here the angle it's supposed to be at. Okay, so if we're looking here, we want L20. Will you stand up on your own? Not really. L20, we want it with like we actually want it like this. This kind of a angle. Just like that. go. Okay, so now we'll take our other L14 and install him down here. Just like that. See, really what you're kind of doing is finishing off the little axle section here. Okay, and now we're going to take our other L20, same thing. We want it in that same position. There's little notches that allow you to position it in the same position on both sides. There we go. So we've got our axles in there done. Okay. Now let's work on our deflector. Let that dry. We got to find our R tree. Which one is the R? R, right here. So we're going to start with, we want R10, 11, 12, and 13. It's these guys here. $10. 11. 12. 13. And then we want 17 and 18 is going to be the two sides. $17, $18. Okay. So 18, 17. Let's clean these up. Everything needs to be cleaned before it gets assembled. Otherwise it won't fit together properly. Fortunately with these, the way they are designed, your nub marks are probably never going to be seen. They're going to be on the underside, inside of these pieces. So if your nubs don't look that great, don't worry about it. Chances are you're going to be like me and you're going to be painting the whole thing anyway, so your nubs won't matter at all. There we go. Okay, so we're going to start with this guy. We've got our pin at the bottom, and then this guy's going to go on next. And he's also going to have a pin at the bottom. So let's see how they line up. We do have little pegs, little holes, so it looks like we can line them up nicely like that. So, take some glue. Some glue in there, and there. Get this guy seated in his new home. There we go. Okay. And repeat. This guy, again, little peg on the front. Go. And finally this guy here. This one is a challenge and how he's supposed to sit. So his angle here, it looks like we've got two little holes right here and here, so we know that's how it's going to sit down like that. It's just a matter of lining it up. Just like that. And then take our side pieces, all of their little grooves, and they're going to line up like that. You can put glue on the ends of these if you want. I don't think it's necessary. Just do that. That's enough, I think. A little bit of thin. Get it lined up. And that's good like that. Okay. This one. Same deal. We have our, what do they call it? Deflector set up. Now it's going to go in the back here, and we're supposed to spread our two pieces apart. And it's going to go in here and here, right in this spot. Now they're not giving me anything about not gluing, but they're saying it's movable. So they're saying basically means don't glue it. It's supposed to be a movable part. So we want this peg here to go into the hole. Okay. So it goes into the hole there like this. And then spread our piece apart to get it to fit in. Didn't take that much to spread it at all. I think I might have it wrong because this should be movable. I guess you can have it like this or like that, or I have it upside down. I don't think I have it upside down. I think I have it correct. There we go. Our deflector's in. Okay. So, next is going to be wheels. Now, assembling the wheels is pretty straightforward. You put your two halves together. We've got our drive sprockets. Those two go together, but you put a large poly caps in between the two, and you do that. And you do that a whole bunch of times. Okay. So, this is what's going to happen. Is once my thing goes away, I'm going to assemble the wheels off camera. Okay, I'll do that, and so the next time we come together, I'll be putting the wheels on. Okay. Now, one thing that I don't like to do is I don't like to glue the wheels on until after I've done a bunch of painting, right? Because, well, once you have the wheels glued on there, it's too hard to paint in behind them. You literally can't. So I'll get the wheels assembled. We'll do that off camera, but we'll deal with actually installing the wheels another time. Okay, so that's some of our little idler wheels that are going to go onto the actual hull. We've got other wheels that are going to be going onto the actual suspension pieces. We'll do all that next time, and we'll see how that's all going to go on, and you'll see the tracks, but we'll deal all with This is kind of like skip this part and we continue on with something else, because this needs to be able to be removed in order for it to be painted, right? And so that's what we'll do next time. Okay, guys? So with that, I want to thank you guys for watching. I want to thank you for coming out. Thank you for all the support. Thank you for the idea, Ray, for doing this, to watch the movie Fury. It was enjoyable, and yes, of course, now I want to build the tank. So here I am, here we are. So with that, I'm going to head on out, and I want to thank you guys for watching. Down in the description box below, you're going to find some links. You're going to find links to my Twitch, where you could follow me on Twitch and you could watch me live doing this stuff. You could comment on my stuff while I'm doing stuff live if you felt like it. There's also a link going to be to my Instagram, where after I finish every build, I upload some pictures of that build, and you can see some still pictures on my Instagram. Follow me on there too. Other than that, hit that like button, hit subscribe, and we'll see you all in the next one.